Internet, it's Andrew Michael. Welcome to this week's episode of Andrew Michael News. And as you can see, for the first time ever on Andrew Michael News, we are outside and the wind is blowing. It's a comfortable 75 degrees here in Mississippi. And I basically wanted to shake things up one more time. And basically, this is what we're doing. We are outside. And today we're going to do a doubleheader, so get ready. So, I know what you'll hear is a little bit of background noise, but literally it's the wind, so be patient. Anyways, our first story we're going to cover for our doubleheader is Dallas, the Cowboys, somehow beating New Orleans Saints last night. And a lot of people want to say, oh, we got to give Dallas credit now for being a good team now. Oh, we got to say it's time to diss New Orleans Saints. Maybe it's no longer time to try to, put the band back together and try to get another Super Bowl after 2009. But what I think the problem here is, it's not that Dallas is a good team, because trust me, they're not. If you can see this hat, they're not a good team. But the thing is, it really doesn't help when you're living in Mississippi, and the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys literally went to school an hour away from where I live. And every time Dallas wins, it's always an ego booster for them and not for me. And I do feel like with Dallas winning, I will give them credit. It did make them give them a better chance to somehow win the NFC East, because the Philadelphia Eagles haven't played yet. Washington has a backup quarterback, so their old chances of, wanting to be able to get into the playoffs are probably gone now. Unless they do a Nick Foles and then their quarterback somehow does really good and leads them straight into the playoffs, which I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But the thing with Dallas is that the only two real players that were there were Ezekiel Elliott and Amari Cooper. They were the only two people that were actually, shining in this game, because New Orleans, as you can tell, Drew Brees really is not that mobile. And you can tell in this game that he really is not a good runner, and he's not good at running away from the pocket and trying to get into first down territory to get some points on the board like he usually did, and like New Orleans did against Philadelphia. You would see New Orleans has some really explosive plays, but Dallas really turned on their defense and really turned on their offense, and they had something going, and they did. Now, I will give Dallas credit. I did not expect them to win at all. In fact, I told my mother, she's a Mississippi State fan, and of course, as Mississippi State fans, you gotta be Dallas Cowboys fans. And so I was telling her, I hope to God Dallas does not win at all, because I hate Dallas. All right, Washington, I hate them too, but Dallas is way worse, because it's like every time they win, their ego is way up here, and they try to set the standards every time, and it's like they should just stop with this. And then New York, I mean, their team's a joke. Nobody cares about them. And Philadelphia, you would want them to try to be better, but the thing is they're not. And so it's like Dallas has this thing about them where if they even get close to a victory, even if they win, if it's only by 3 points, they're not going to care about that. They're just going to care about how good their team is, when really, they're not a good team. And I've been saying that plenty of times before. They're just like Washington, and they're just like Philadelphia. Anyone can win the NFC East. It's just a matter of who can beat who, and who can take care of business when it matters. And at first, Philadelphia, of course, everyone going in thinking Philadelphia might come back to the Super Bowl, but we lost a good bit of our defensive players, and so it's like, you can't really do much with the defense that can't stop anything, and they could barely. We almost lost to New York last week, and if we had done that, this title would have been, the Eagles are not making it to the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, they're not even making it to the playoffs, or coming close to that. But since Philadelphia beat the New York Giants, I do believe we might be a good third place team, or maybe second place, because unless we get some really good players, and unless we get them back off the injury reserve, that's the only chance we have to win. Now, I will say this. Philadelphia plays Redskins on Sunday. If Philadelphia beats the Redskins, what it does to Philadelphia is that it puts them in a spot, a very, very interesting spot. If Dallas loses to Philadelphia the week after, what will happen then is that you'll see it. You'll see Philadelphia and you'll see Dallas fighting it out. If Philadelphia can pull off the win against Washington and Dallas, what it does is it will set Philadelphia up to be the first team to win the NFC East back-to-back in about 15 years. Or probably 20. I think it's 15 though. And just when I talked about Cleveland about a couple weeks ago, you know, any team can be really good if they can beat the good teams. Like, there's a lot of mediocre teams this year, especially teams that are 5-5, teams that are like, I don't know, 6-4. But we have a lot. There's a lot of a divide in 2018, and you can really tell. You got the really good teams like Los Angeles Rams, the Saints, the Chiefs, the Patriots are at 7-2, or I think 8-2. And then down below them, you have all the teams that are like 5-5 and, you know, 6-4. You have Green Bay and Minnesota at 6-4-1, and then Green Bay at 5-6-1. And then below them, you have that sweet spot right there. We have Philadelphia there at like 4-6, but I think they might be getting to 5-6. Can they, if they do beat Dallas this week? And then below Philadelphia, you have all the bad teams. And I will say this, if Cleveland did not tie, they would be with Philadelphia. Cleveland and Philadelphia would have the same record now if they didn't tie that 1 week. But I think going back to Cleveland, since they beat Cincinnati, if Cleveland can take care of business and they can win some more games, they might be third place, and the Bengals are just losing, and you know, they're not even getting close to it. And so Dallas, Washington, and Philadelphia, 3 teams who really don't like each other, and every year you hear it, who's going to be the team to win the NFC East? Because nobody knows, because it's like every year it's ever been Washington, Dallas, or Philadelphia, and occasionally New York, but the only times New York has won, they've actually won the Super Bowl twice whenever they won it, and then a couple of times when they did win the NFC East, they didn't make it. Dallas, whenever Dallas would get in, and they would be in the playoffs, they would go pretty far, but they wouldn't make it too far. I mean, they would probably make it into, like, not the semifinals, but the quarterfinals, where they have 8 teams left. They would probably get knocked out in the first or second round. Washington, when they've won it, they've done the same thing as Dallas. They really haven't gone far into the playoffs. Philadelphia, when they won, they always went past the first round. So whoever we played the first round, we beat them. The second round was always our toughest challenge because you didn't know who was going to win. And then I don't think we've ever come to the semifinals or the finals until this year in 2018 when your boys Philadelphia won the Super Bowl. And so my main point for this episode is that Dallas claims to be a really good team when, in all honesty, they're really not. And it's just like, they're just really lucky at winning these games. Because literally, if you saw the game yesterday, they only won by 3 points. But they were able to hold the Saints to 10 points. But easily, Drew Brees could have won that. But at the same time, it's like, if Drew Brees really tried hard enough, he would have allowed his team to come back and win. But they just didn't. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Andrew Michael News. Stick around for the second episode, which will be coming up right after this. So, if you like news videos, make sure you leave a like. And if you are new around here and you don't know exactly what this channel does, I have an About page that I fixed yesterday, so you can go check that out. And until next time, I'm Andrew Michael, and I'll see you guys next time. Thumbs up.